Hello, hello, hi. Let me turn that music down. There we go. Hi guys, it's so lovely to see you. Hello Jay. Thank you. Is it Brian? Thanks for your message. I'm hopefully streaming on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and Instagram. So hello Jay, I know you're watching, and it's really lovely to see everyone. I'm hoping that I can see everybody's comments and that you can see each other's. So if you're on Facebook and you want to put a message in the chat, then it should pop up on the screen if I've managed to get this all working. So welcome, and welcome to Saturday drawing. I try and make this just really casual and easy. If you haven't, oh yes, hi, it is starting. Do I call you Brian? And hi Jay, thank you. So I have a little friend here to meet you. Hello. So this is part of Steve. It's not the whole of Steve. I've just taken his arm. He's not real, he's plastic, but very, very handy for drawing. So I will show you what I'll be doing. Oh, Brian is fine. Okay, that's great. Thank you. So let me show you round. So I've got my drawing board here, and then I've got, if I need and then this is the talking place. So the plan is I just put this drawing here just so it doesn't look like I've done absolutely nothing. So my plan is to do a mixture of things. I'm going to be working on toned tan paper, and if you like drawing and you want to get your own stuff out, then that would be wonderful. If you just want to watch, that's wonderful too. So oh, thank you, thanks very much Brian. So I'm just going to be doing a mix of drawing from life, so drawing my own hands, talking a bit about structure of hands using Steve, so he's very handy for that, and just talking about some tips and using different materials. I've got a cup of tea, cheers. Right, so quite good to start by sharpening your pencils. I like to use really soft pencils. So this is 7B. Actually, this one is pretty sharp. So Steve is very handy. Yes, he is. Okay, so I'm just going to sand it very lightly to make sure I've got a nice point. So I'm going to be using, I quite like these, they're Mars Lumograph. I use very soft ones. I don't know what your favourite thing is to draw with. Jay, I wonder what you're up to. I wonder if you're at home, or wonder whether you're with Irene. So, okay, so that's just another one in the bag. Oh, Brian, you must be an artist, judging by your handle. I'd be interested to know what sort of thing you do, whether you like traditional materials or other things. You're digital. Yes, it really is. Yeah, Lumograph. I know lots of people talk about Blackwing pencils. I haven't even tried them yet. Okay, so right, what should I do first then? Should I do a bit of the skeleton, or should I do my own hand? Oh, you're traditional as well. Okay, brilliant. Now I have got a reference photo if you want to use it. It's on my website, so the address is at the bottom just there. You can see the address, and you can download a reference photo if you want. But I'm just going to be drawing my left hand basically, and Steve. So, oh hi Amina, lovely to see you, thanks so much for joining. So I might just put Steve here and have a quick look at his hand and what we can learn from that. So if you compare the skeleton's hand to your own, you can really see where the joints are. So in the I always try and remember what's going on inside. So you've got these long bones here, basically are inside here. So the fingers almost start there. So you have this kind of plane here, and I think it's really good to remember that you've got this curve. So if you look at the basic structure of the hand, you tend to have a curve here, like that. You've got your thumb coming out here, and you can look at where your thumb ends. So your thumb ends beyond that curve there, and you've got that kind of bulge. And then you can almost split this up into 4, like that. You can imagine a kind of 3D shape. I hope you can see that. You move that over a little bit so people on Instagram can see. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Brian. You're really kind. I'm glad you like it. Hopefully it won't be hidden for too long. So if you look at the relative proportions, then you know, from here to here is about the same as from here to here. So if I add in those little wrist bones there, which Jay is a medic. Jay, you can tell me what these wrist bones are called here, if you can be bothered. I expect you might like a bit of time off. So basically the distance from there to there, let me move that over even more, sorry, because Instagram people can't quite see this, is the same as the distance to the tips, like that. And then these fingers here, you can see are broken into 3 separate bones. So 1, 2, 3. And these sort of things don't really... Oh, let me get a pencil. Yay! You're gonna draw. That's fantastic. Okay, so then you can split those up, and you've got about... This one is about half-ish the width of that one. Okay, right. So, and you can look at the position of the knuckles as well. So we'll look at this a little bit later. But you can, I'm a great fan of trying to see things like stars. So, and I'll talk about this in a minute about when, so, and then you've got these two bones here, the radius and ulna. Oh yes, I am. Hi, Brian. Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm like a rash. I'll come and say hello. Hang on. There, hello. Hello, Instagram. Right, so my new friend Brian found me on, where were you? I think you were on Twitch, and now he's found me on Instagram. Yeah, I'm like a rash. Okay, so let's go back to the drawing board. Okay, so when you're drawing hands, and I'm not positioning myself as an expert here, but you can of course think about those two bones of the wrist there. And I've got rather chubby wrists, but you can feel them, and it's quite good, I think, to feel your wrists. So you can usually locate those on a person, and then you look for landmarks. So you can look for the knuckles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and look for the pattern that they make, like that. And these are all just tricks to try and turn off your brain so that you don't, and it's very good when you're life drawing, I find. So this is basically my number one tip. Okay, so Brian and anyone else who's watching, let me just see on me. There we go, right. So I'll start by just drawing a simple, my own hand. Okay, there must be time to get some action. Okay, right, so you can put your hand in any position. So if you want to draw, then quite good to have a good light. Why don't I do something like that? I'll move Steve slightly out of the way, there. So hopefully you can see my hand. Now, top drawing tip again is, and tell me please if the volume is good or bad, if piano music is too loud or quiet, and if my lip sync is off, I can change that slightly. Okay, so I'm going to put my hand in this position, so you can draw my hand if you want, you can just watch and have a cup of tea. I'm going to have my cup of tea there. And you can also so draw your own hand, draw my hand from this picture. So I'm going to keep this hand still for about 10 minutes now. Let me just move that over a little bit. There we go. Ah, okay, you think the music could be lower. Okay, I did just turn it down a little bit. Turn it a tiny bit more. Right, I've arranged some piano music because I thought that would be a nice thing. I'll move my hand there so you've got a nice clear view of it. Now my view of my hand is not quite aligned with the camera, but it should be pretty close, and I'm really liking these shadows. So I've got obviously a light here, casting light. Okay, and right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor the, I've got the wrist, so I'm looking at this joint here, imagining those two bones inside, and I'm going to try and look at the tip of the finger and locate that as well. So I'm going for the tip of this finger, like that. Now I'm going to squint. I'm a great fan of squinting. Sorry about the graphite on my hand, it looks really dirty, doesn't it? So I'm going to squint and try and look at the relative positions. So I've got the ball of my thumb there, and I'm looking at the relative positions of my digits. So I'm imagining it's like a constellation. So there's my thumb, that's one for a spot for my thumb, and then I can see the angle here. Now I'm going to cut across my hand and look at the angle from that to there. Hi Nikki, thanks for joining. Lovely to see you on Instagram. I'm just doing hand sketching. So we've got Skeleton Steve here as well. So let's have a look at so I'm looking and I'm imagining there's also a bit of an arc going on here. So I've got my tip of my little fingers there. My ring finger is here. My middle finger is just slightly lower. So I'm checking all the angles. So I've got that one there. And by the way, quite good to hold your pencil like this. Brian, tell me if my music is okay now. And I hope that you will find me and send me your pictures, whatever you've drawn. I will look you up. Tell me I'm going to write your handle down so I can find you. But do find me wherever you are. Okay. So next tip is negative space. So do you... Okay, anyone who draws regularly will be no stranger to the negative space, the value of that. Oh, hello Doom13, thank you so much, that's really kind of you. Thank you for following. So, right, so looking at the negative space, again squinting, so I can see that I've got a space here. Let me turn it back so you can see my drawing board on Instagram. Okay, so I've got this space here, there, which if you're drawing your own hand, of course it might be different. I've got a space here between these fingers, which is quite a long space. So this is all tricks to avoid drawing sausages. Oh, thank you, Brian. I'm loving all the love. Thank you for the Saturday. This is so nice. It's lovely to have you. Right, I'm just going to pause for a second and look for joints. So I'm looking for the, there we go, I've got a curve here. So I'm looking now at this line here and just kind of getting that in where they join. And then let's get Steve out so you can see Steve. I wonder if I can put Steve here. Right, I just want to try and put Steve's hand in roughly the same position. Trouble is yeah, okay, there we go. Right, so I've got a little eye shape there. I've got a little eye shape there, and I'm going to Oh, you use the shadow shapes. Yeah, that's another really good one, Doom 13. Yeah, totally. I like your handle, by the way. That's very funny. Unlucky for some. Right. There. Yeah, I was going to mention shadows, but you're totally right. Okay. And you'll notice I've got some really great shadows here, so I've really lucked out. It's my new streaming light. Right. Well, prompted by Doom 13, let's look at those shadows then. So you can look at, and this is something particularly that this drawing, if you're not on Instagram, you'll be able to see a drawing. Oh, hi Simran. Oh, so lovely. Thanks for joining. Really nice to see you. So I'll just quickly say on this drawing here, what I've done is looked at, so you've got the hard edges where you've got a cast shadow and a really hard edge, and then some areas like here where the form turns more slowly, you get a soft edge. So let's look at that on this hand. And it's really easy to do it by squinting. Just going to put the boundary of my thumb there. Okay, so I can see that halfway along my thumb I've got quite a hard edge like that on the shadow, and then it softens here, and it's almost easier to see it on the screen. Doom 13, I hope you've got your pencils out. Right, and then that comes down like that. Okay, and so this finger here, I've got a... Right, let's look at those joints before I get too distracted. So my big shapes, I think my palm is a little bit wide here. I've got this nice, I'm trying to think of a three-dimensional angle here. And now let's put that edge in. So here's my thumb bulge there, and I've got a nice hard edge on that shadow there. Okay, and I've got 1, 2, so I'm looking at where these joints connect there. So let's put those in. So I'm not proposing that this is a really fabulous drawing of hands. What I'm doing is just trying to share my sketching process. So you're finishing up your coffee, break out your watercolours. Oh right, okay. Yeah, good plan. Good plan. Well, I'm happy that you've joined while you have your coffee. Lovely to have you. Okay, and then little finger. So the little fingers quite often, it's like the big toe in that it quite often goes off in the other direction. Right, now I'm going to look at those shadows. So let's use that shadow behind the little finger. Now Steve's shadow is getting in my way. Unfortunately, I've got two lights casting different sorts of shadow. I've got a hard shadow here, there. Hello, hi Hidehisa Nomu, thank you for joining on Instagram, lovely to have you. Just sketching hands and looking at different tricks and tips and sharing the process. So if you want to get your pencils out and sketch your hand. Right. I'm going to talk about another tip for foreshortening as well in a minute, if I remember. Has anyone used the... Oh, you love watching... I'm so happy you do love watching other artists. Thank you. I do too, actually. I really like Arthur Gain. He's fantastic. He's a painter. He's my streaming inspo. Right, and another top tip, which I'm not really applying at the moment, but is to remember that those fingernails, and you might be able to see here, they're very much embedded in the finger. Remember your fingernails, they're not just like painted on the top. Okay, so that's in deep shadow. This is deep shadow here and there, and I've got a nice profile here where I've got my gardening fingernails. Welcome if you've just joined. I'm just doing a bit of loose hand sketching, looking at tips and tricks for drawing hands. There, and one of the viewers has suggested, so Doom13 reminded very appropriately that shadows are a great help when you're drawing a hand. And I've got a nice bit of shadow travelling over my slightly podgy bit there into the crease. That's quite handy. All that's in shadow. Okay, now let's get that thumbnail on. It's quite small. I'll just do another couple of minutes on this one and then I'm going to move my hand. So I would really encourage you, if you've got any drawing materials, please get them out. Please don't just sit and watch me, although you're very welcome to if it relaxes you and you're just about to get your watercolours out. There's no rules, but I'd love it if you got your drawing stuff out and we were drawing together. I've really tried to make this stream just things I would be doing anyway. It's such a nice thing to do at the weekend. It really switches off. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to really miss, if I'm not drawing, I feel a bit bereft. I need to get some drawing in every day. Otherwise I feel a bit uptight. Okay, there we are. And so we've got some creases in here. Right, now I promised you a tip about foreshortening, and this is more that you can use for okay, so there's one, there we are. So look at the nature of the shadows as well. So we've got these cast hard edge shadows here, and then much softer where the form turns there, like that. And then I've got a hard one here. I don't know if that looks like a hand. It's got this sense of volume. I've lost a bit of a sense of volume. I think I need a bit more volume here. There we go. Right. And I'm going to get some of those cool finger shadows in just before I stop, because they're really weird and wonderful. There. Okay, and that's quite good for defining this finger here. So just trying to look as well for quick wins for edges. Okay, there we go. So there's a hand. I'm going to turn onto the chat. So how are you guys today then? What are you up to? I know Doom13 has got some drawing, some watercolour planned. Brian, are you drawing? Right. Now, how about a bit of colour? What do you think? I think that would be nice. I've got some new pencils to experiment with. I'll show you. Here we go. So let me take this down a little bit and you can see. Nope. My screen, there we go. Oh, I'll lift them up, that would be more sensible, wouldn't it? Right, so these are Cretacolor and they're oil pencils. So they were recommended by an artist that I follow avidly, Robin Lee Hall, and Robin does a proper teaching. Oh, you are drawing, wonderful, fantastic. Brian, I'm sure you don't need hand references, but if you do, there's one on my website on that. I took a photo of my son's hand. He's got great drawing hands. He looks like he'd be a good piano player. So I'm just going to give these a little sharpen and see what the colours look like. Okay, I wonder if my Facebook feed is working. That would be good to know. I've really tried to sort out streaming software so I can stream across platforms. Do you stream, Brian? Are you a content creator, or do you just create art? Right, so these are oil pencils, which is a nice thing. Apparently they're not too smudgy, and that should be quite good. Shall I use brown? Shall I use coloured paper or white? I might use white for now. And then I'll do the next one on tan paper. I love working on tan paper, working with light and dark. Just art, okay. Right. Okay then. How about that? That's a bit awkward. What can I do that's different? Right, I quite like a closed hand. That's a bit boring. Right, I'm going to do that. Okay. Like a hitchhiking kind of hand. Right, so let's have a look at these colours. These are new to me, these colours. Oh, they're lovely. So I can do sharp and blended. There's a very warm gingery colour. That would be good. A very like a dark grey, black. Okay, so I'm going to start light. Right, I'm just going to check that I can do it so that people can see on Instagram, because it's quite hard to see. Let me move that round. Okay, there we go. Right. So this time I'm going to do it as looking at the big shape. Okay. So I'm looking at this edge here. You can see there's really pretty much a continuation, a curve going there, and then this, comparing this with the vertical, is almost, it's not far off vertical. So I think that's probably where my knuckle of my little finger is. Okay, now in my head I'm going to draw an imaginary line diagonally down through, so I'm kind of looking for this triangle from there to there to there, and just making sure that on my drawing it looks about right, to check the sort of lengths and things. I've got a really good, I'm not quite sure how it is for you, but I've got a really good negative shape in here. That's pretty handy. So I don't know what you do, but I kind of, and if you've got any good tips for hands, as you can see, I'm no textbook hand drawing person, so by all means give me some tips, your favourite tips for hands. Okay, so I'm going to try and see this block of fingers here as one shape, so it looks kind of that shape. And then I've got inside, I've got that curve going on behind them. Now let's look at the, I'm going to look at the outline now. So you've got that there and down. Okay, so let's start at this end. Lot of squinting going on here. And here's the wrist. So you can see the wrist as a box. And if you ever, do you follow Stan Prokopenko? Have you come across Stan? He's absolutely fantastic. I'm not sure if he's streaming at the moment. He probably is, but he's had a baby, second child, and I think has been slightly suspended for a while, but hopefully back. He does a fantastic podcast with his friend, the illustrator, Marshall. Oh, you know Stan, yeah, fantastic, isn't he? Do you like him? Do you like his stuff? I think he's Bridgman, yeah, and Oh, what's the other one? Loomis as well. Loomis does hands. Do you like Loomis? I'm not familiar with Bridgman, not really. Haven't studied Bridgman's stuff enough to really say. Yeah, I can tell we're twin souls. Right. Let's have a look. So I'm going to just try and see this shape here, make sure I've got that. Yeah, I got that there. And I'm going to get the dark pencil. And this is where, unfortunately, your camera view, excuse me, isn't terribly subtle. But I've got some little landmarks that I'm going to put in. I've got a dark patch there. And then I'm looking, so it's down there. I've got a dark patch between those two fingers like that. So I'm just kind of, again, treating them like a constellation. Excuse me, in my throat. Okay. Right. Now it's quite nice. I might put some of these warms. I've got a very, very warm area here, which you quite often get a lot of really warm tones on hands, I think because of the blood. Maybe it's the blood being near to the skin. I don't know. Okay, I'm starting to look for knuckles and things. Right. See how dark that is. Yeah, okay, so now I'm going to just block out this dark bit of palm in this slightly darker pen, because I can see that whatever else is going on, I can see that I have got roughly this tonal value. Sure, my hand's moved. Has it moved? How's your hand going, Brian? How's yours going? What are you drawing with? Are you drawing with graphite? Okay, right, so my thumb is coming in here. A lot of squinting. And this finger here is actually quite obscured by the others. I've got a good little bit of joint there. And I'm going to put that, so I'm going to go for the fingernails now, just to kind of map out where they are. Check they're in the right place relative to each other. Sometimes they're slightly flared. And this finger, I'm looking at it kind of end on. Right, there we go. Hoping that makes sense. And here is the little pinky. Okay, there we go. Right. Again, I'm looking for the silhouette of that finger. Right, now I've got some dark divides here, so let's just look at getting some of those in. So I'm really treating this not as a hand, I'm just trying to treat it as a random set of shapes and actually forget it's a hand. You're using graphite? Oh yeah, yeah. I honestly think if all I ever had was a graphite pencil for the rest of my life, I'd be quite happy. It's definitely on my desert island list, things to take, a graphite pencil. Oh, hello Pam, lovely to see you. Thanks so much for joining. How are you doing? And hello Razor, thanks for joining. Just drawing hands, sketching, having a bit of fun. How are you guys doing? How are your weekends? Okay, let's get that edge there. I think I'm going to draw Steve after this. Now I'm going to get the shadow. I've got a lovely cast shadow going on here, a little sharp one and then a blurry one. So I'll use that to get the edge. And I've got a nice bit of warm on the pad of the thumb, warm colouring coming around here. And then this is much too light. I've got this too light here. That needs to go right down. Okay, and I've got a nice sharp cast shadow here, which defines this there. So that finger cast onto that one, and here we've got the same thing going on. So really these shadows help to define the form of the object that they're on. There we go. And then we've got a really soft edged shadow here. Let's put that. I think I haven't got my fingers long enough. Oh, hi Paul, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. How are you doing? You're late. Nice to see you on YouTube. It's good. This is great. So this means my my streaming's working on YouTube and on Twitch and on Instagram. So I just need someone from Facebook to comment so that I can see that it's working on Facebook. That would be amazing. And that would be a full house. Okay, Paul, I hope you've got your pencils out. Right, so there. Hope this is looking vaguely 3D. How's it looking? Now, and we've got some nice, I might just go for these creases here. So I'm trying to block out my thumb. I was just saying to remember that fingernails are wrap round the finger. They're not sliced on top. And I'm trying to look at the volume. So I'm trying to look at this bit here. I'm looking at it as a cylinder, trying to make sure I've got a good bit of volume for it. And I've got that knuckle there. There. So this edge is definitely in the light. So I'm trying not to just define this edge too much. Let's go down here. There we go. There's a tiny bit. So there's really, the highlight is there. So I'll just put that on like that. And then I've got a slight bit of turned form. So turning form is when it gets slightly darker as it moves away to the edge, but not to be overdone. And then if I squint, I can see this lovely cool shadow that I was drawing before with that one. I'm using Creta colour pencils. They're really good. Robin Lee Hall. Ah, foreshortening. Okay, yes, I would do foreshortening. Yep, I'll do that next. My top tip. You probably know it, Brian. You obviously very well read, but you never know. I might be able to surprise you with a... I'm always looking for tips. Right, just let me finish this hand. And my thumb. That. Get those darkest darks in. And I've got quite a bit of shadow that I've not bothered to put yet, which might be helpful for definition on the fingernails. So when I've just got these shadows evened there, so there's a joint here, you can see. Oh, Facebook's working. Thanks, Debs. Hey, Debs, I can see you. That's brilliant. And can you see that your comment will come up on the screen? So my new friend Brian, and I hope still Doom13 are watching on Twitch. So you can now talk to each other if you should so wish. So that's nice. So I wanted to try and get a community that went across different platforms, because different people like different things. So, okay. Just trying to make sure I've got consistent coverage of the key shadows so that it makes sense. Right, and we need a bit of shadow on the fingernails because they are rounded. This fingernail actually oh no, not that one, that one. Got them muddled up. Right, that one is in shadow. Right, let's see if these, if I can rub this out. Brian's got top tip, thank you very much. Brian, I think that's a disgraceful tip, just by the way. I love it. Just hide them, yeah. Gestural hands rather than actual hands. Right, let's get this fingernail. So there's a bit of shadow there. So I'm really trying to ignore the surface colour and just look at the shadows there. Okay, I think that's probably enough of that. Border this hand now. Let's get that bit, that crease in. I've got, oh, there's a nice cast shadow there showing my rolls of padding, which are a real gift. I'm going to do a talk on in a gallery on the 22nd of May. I'm at Heart of the Tribe Gallery in Glastonbury, and I'm doing a talk on body image through the eyes of an artist, so about life drawing and stuff like that. So I'm cool, just to say I'm totally cool with all these folds and bits of flesh on my own hand. I think they're great, and they're really great for drawing as well. They really help you find your subject. Okay, right, I'm going to turn onto the chat, partly to say hello, also to say thank you for joining me, and Debs, thanks for putting something in. I know you possibly aren't that inclined to put stuff on the chat, so thank you. It's lovely to have you. And also, so top tip for foreshortening is spirals. So you can imagine that what you're drawing, you imagine that you're wrapping spirals round it. So I'm going to try and demonstrate. Not particularly with, let's go to the drawing board. Okay, there's a hand, right. So just, let me see, so if you've got a person, so say you've got their head and they're holding their hand out towards you like this. So there's their, hopefully you can see that. I'm doing it a little bit light and sketchy to start with. So there's their hand. They're like, so I'm doing them like that. And there's their shoulder. And so there they are standing. Hope that. So there's a person, smiley face. Okay. So what you can do is you can imagine you're drawing spirals round the thing like that, and that really helps me. I don't know if I can get this camera down. I don't want to break the camera, but I don't know if you can see that there. So you can kind of draw spirals around the thing to help judge the proportions of how it needs to come towards you. I'm trying to think what else I could do. Well, you could just draw, I mean, it's good drawing practice anyway, to loosen up. So say that could be an elbow there. There's your, does that make sense? So here's your hand. And there's your shoulder. And sometimes you can do that with a model. It's, yeah, it's quite useful sometimes to help you visualize how the thing is coming on. Right, do you think it might be time to do a skeleton? And how about also, what I would like to do is do some pen and ink, or I might just do some hatching, some pen. Right, hopefully that's visible. I'm just trying to leave some things on the side here so that if anyone is cruising channels, they see my fabulous drawings. Okay, right. You fold that over. Oh, hello Caroline, lovely to see you. My sister Caroline's joined. Thank you so much for joining, Kerry. By the way, Kerry, you can join on Facebook now and YouTube, but you're super welcome there as well. Okay, so let's have a look then. I'm getting in a bit of a muddle here. I'm going to get my a pen out. Let's do some hatching and a pen. And I might let's try that, because that's a position I can't really get my hand into while I'm demonstrating. Now I have a bit of a concern that this pen, it does show up. Okay, so what I will do is I might focus the camera, so excuse me. Right, I'm just going to try and do this a little bit more focused so that you can see the hatching of the pen. There we are. Okay, now let's put Steve's hand over a little bit, like that. And I'm looking at all there's some really cool bones here. Right. Okay, Steve, you're on. So, and I think what I might do is just slightly cheat. And so I've got my putty rubber. I suspect you know all about putty rubber because I'm a huge fan. Not to be muddled up with blue tack, but it's basically very like blue tack. It's slightly, I think they're slightly oily, but great for rubbing things out. So I'm just going to, let's see, hopefully on Instagram, I'll move Steve's hand if you can't see. So let's talk about that constellation thing again. So I've got, there's this little joint here, the wrist, and then I'm going to look out. So I'm going to imagine drawing these as a constellation. So there's the tip of his thumb. Here are the two sides of his wrist. So this is his radius and ulna here. Okay, now I've got these three here, like that, and if that's the thumb, so they're there. I'm just going to do these tiny bits of mapping out in pencil first. So I'm looking at these joints, and I've got 1, 2, 3, like that. So I quite often, if I'm drawing things that are in a row, like these, mark out the extremes, and you know, split them up. Think about dividing it in half and then dividing it again, just to make sure they're spaced out. So we've got that there, and then notice how the thumb comes right out like that. So it's very different, and I'm looking at the angle from there to there. So I've got thumb joint there. There's that. There's my tip of my thumb, like that. Okay, and let's put these in. So I'm going to go from here to here. That's quite diagonal, I think. Checking that comes in there. Okay, so I've got this top point here, this point here. They're very close together, those fingers. That makes it more interesting than if they're just spread out. So this one goes slightly above the vertical. Okay, and that one goes there. Right, so now I've got my landmarks, I've got my points of my fingers, and I'm going to start using the ink now. It's just given me a little bit of a head start to because with ink you can't kind of rub it out so much. Right, let me just very carefully move that together a bit. Okay. So let's get some of these joints in here. I've got a nice strong light. Right, I don't think you can see that very well, so if you'll excuse me for 1 second, I'm going to stand up. Oh, Paul, you forgot to buy a putty rubber, I see. Right, that's annoying for you. Right, let's see if I can get this light. I'm going to see if I can get this camera just down a tad. Don't know if I can. It doesn't want to go. Okay. There. Right. In that case, I might use a slightly thicker pen, I think, because... Okay, Debs, bye. Lovely to see you. Oh, here we are. Right, I'm going to use a thicker pen so you can see what I'm doing. Right. So it's same old, basically looking for quick wins, things you can see, things you know, get those in. And then the things that you don't... It's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle. Then the things that you don't know are easier. Right, so I'm going to do this thumb joint, and hopefully I'll be able to get some hatching in. Sometimes I love a bit of realism, and I love how, for example, if you draw models from life, it's really nice to draw. Sometimes you tape their feet when they go in a pose, and then or their hands, they go in a pose and then they go away for a bit, and in order to make sure you know where they are, you put tape around their feet, so when they have a rest they can come back in. So where I'm going with this, I promise it makes sense eventually, is that you can derive quite a lot of pleasure, I think, from drawing things like those springs, because it's not, you know, it's a bit of realism. So it's just showing this isn't, I'm not pretending this is an actual, you know, a living skeleton. It is an assembly. So sometimes that's quite nice to remember that for, I don't know if that's making any sense, but when I draw life models, if they've got tape at their feet, I quite like putting the tape in. It's just a record of the fact that it was a person in a room, standing still, and they had to have breaks. Right, now I'm doing over the top of these, so I've got this lovely kind of profile thing going on. That one's got a bit of a edge, that one is like that. And then they've got these rounded joints. So this is a great skeleton. I just got it on, it was just a Amazon, I think. But it's resin and it's cast from a real one. You can tell by the way the bones sit. So it's really useful. I mean, it's not perfect because you have obviously joints, you know, it doesn't have ligaments and things like that to hold its joints together, but it's pretty close. I like it, and it's called Steve. Good reference. Right, is the music okay, and can you see all right? Just please tell me if it is. If there's anything I need to sort, I may be able to sort it now, or it may be something that I need to sort for next time. Right, I'm going to try and develop a kind of a code for the shadows. So shadows which are on the paper, I'm going to do like this, because I want to have this here. This lovely cast shadow is defining the gap here. So talking about negative space. There's a bit of negative space there, and hopefully when that's when it comes together, you'll be able to see much more. You'll make more sense. Sometimes with this sort of thing, you just have to trust your process, and sometimes it doesn't work, but usually if you stick to your process. So there I'm doing horizontal lines for the negative space on the ground. I'm going to invent a shadow here just to define the edge of this here. Right, and then we've got another one here. We've got, right, let's get that tip in. So there's one little bone here. This is just the tip of the little finger there. And then I'm looking, so it's got a sense of a joint here. There's a joint there, and then that curves down like that. So I'm going to get that in. That's an easy win. And here we have, okay, right, let's get some hatching on the bones, show some of that shadow. Do you know what, I'm actually going to go even darker on this cast shadow because I want to show the difference between the shadows on the bones and the shadows. They look too confusingly close. No, that makes it pop out a little bit more. Okay, so this one here, it's got some nice, let's get these joints in. There's 1, 2, a bit up here. Okay, and then this, oh, this is a splendid knuckle. So that's actually it's the crease here. So this line here, remember, is actually the edge of the palm. So all these bones here are hidden in the palm. I wonder if you like my piano music. I got it off Epidemic Sounds, my new discovery. I thought it would be quite good to go with the hands because obviously piano hands. Right, and let's get that negative space in. And there we are. Right. And here's another joint. I'm not quite sure whether to do those springs or not. How are you then, Paul? What did you get in town? Right. So, a bit more hatching there. It's good to draw the bones of all sorts of bits of body because it just reminds you what's underneath. So you can think structurally about your drawing. Right, and I've got a good negative shape here, so let's get this outline here. Big chunky knuckle. There. That's that strong finger. And some shadows here, defining this one coming forward. Okay, and then here's the thumb. So hopefully in a second this will start to come together and look like something vaguely resembling a skeleton's hand. But it's always a bit of a risk. You never quite know, but you have to trust your process. There we go, that's lucky. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle, these bits, and I love it. Oh, you've got your lino cut supplies, right, fantastic. So last week I did, my live stream was lino cut, and Paul, who's on YouTube, is telling me that he's got his lino cut supplies all sorted. So Paul, I will be looking forward to seeing your Japanese arrangement. I can't remember what it's called, the thing that you do, that you like. It begins with I, doesn't it? Right, now let's just look at that joint. Okay, I'm just trying to not rush in. I'm trying not to get too... it's very easy to narrow down, to zone in on something. So I'm trying to keep my big view, keeping up with my little landmarks that I've got here, looking at my knuckles and where they go relative to each other. So that's a bit of a knuckle there. And we've got another one here. Let's get that in the right place. And there. And then this here comes out. Sometimes it's easy with fingers to get muddled up and lose track of which one you're drawing. I don't know if that's happened to you. Is it just me? Okay, now let's get that shadow there. Some great shadows here. Okay, and there's a great shadow there, cast shadow. And then they tail off the hands, the fingers. Right, this is this finger here. So Steve's hand is upside down. What am I going to do next then? What would you like to see next? Shall I do another graphite one or colour? And do whatever you want. I'm very happy to take requests. Oh, and hey, something else. I do shout outs. So if you want a shout out, you have to type your name in the chat or something that you want shouted out. And I've got a really cool surprise, which you won't get in most places, a calligraphy shout out. Okay, so please, oh, pen or pencil. Oh, hi Leon, thanks so much for joining. I think probably, it depends on the subject, I think. Leon has asked if I prefer pen or pencil. Yes, you can. You want a shout out for Leon? Okay, right. I'll do a shout out for Leon. Anyone else? Go on, Brian. You know you want to. I promise I'm not going to draw a picture of you. Leon, I think, knows what the shout out's going to be. Brian! Woo! Okay. Nearly done. Right, so I'm nearly done with this here. Let's put that shadow in. And let's just get some of these bones in and then I'll do your shout outs. I hope you like this, Brian. You won't get this anywhere else. I can guarantee it. Right. Hey, it's a Bob Ross. Now, what's that? I know that means something, Leon. That's got some significance. Is it sarcastic laughing? What is it? Brian, I have to confess, Leon is my offspring. He's been told to watch. Right, there we go. So there's a bit of a little bit of hatching, kind of put that behind there so you can see. Okay. I think we need to complete those hazy shadows there. Right. Right, there we go. So there's Steve's. Oh, it's a sticker. Right, yes. But it means something, doesn't it? It's the Bob Ross sticker. Okay, right. Here, I'll just put these here. And then I'm going to do your shout outs. Right. Brian, you can choose a colour. What colour would you like? Oh, Phoenix wants one as well. All right then. This is a little bit of a puerile break. Yep, hard choice. Anyone? Who knows what colour they want? And I'll do them now. While Brian is making up his mind. Can tell you're an artist. Right. Okay, Leon, what colour do you want? Anyone. I can do them on if you're on Facebook or if you're on Instagram, you can put one in. Green. All right then. And Leon, you want red. Okay, here we go. Ready? There you go, Brian. How's that? Surprise? Okay, there you are. I'll put Brian's up there. Right, Leon, you want red? Let me just get that there so you can see it. What do you think, Brian? How silly. Okay, and red. Right, this is a little break. This is an intermission in the very, very sensible stream. Okay, ready, Leon? There you are, Leon. I'm really glad you found my stream too, Brian. Anyone else for a shout out before I get on with these drawings? Going. Okay, gone. Right, let's get on with some sensible stuff. There you go, Brian. You saw it here. I bet you can't find that anywhere else, can you? Right, what should I do then? Should I do... Oh, I know. I can do something on coloured paper. Right, let's do one in colour, because the nice thing about that is we can use white as well. Have I got some white? I'm sure I have. Right, got a bit of a white pencil going on here. That's not very strong, is it? Okay, I'll do some... Okay. Okay, a bit of white. That's a little bit. These sometimes go a bit... They're a bit tired when I've had them for a while. Ew. Okay. Right, I am actually 52 going on 12. Okay, so we've got some light, some dark, and I fancy a bit of orange. What do you think? Because as I mentioned before, I quite like to show that that warm glow where the blood is close to the skin. Right. Now, what position haven't I done yet? Brian, I'm going to put your name there. Oh, that's Leon. Okay. Right. That makes it look like it's Brian's hand, doesn't it? It's not, but never mind. Okay, so, fists, there's not much going on with the fist, is there? Done that. Maybe just open. Now, because I'm using the light pen, I want to make sure I've got some nice light on it. Oh, I know. Why don't I do a hand holding something? I will hold a pen. How's that for tricky? Oh, there we go. That's better. Right. So I'll do a hand holding a pen. I'll try and get that in a position that you can see as well. Right. So I'm going to pretend I'm left-handed. There we go. Okay, right. A drawing hand. Okay, so let's get the... now when I'm drawing on this coloured paper, I'm going to do the big shapes first. Thinking about... Okay, just making sure. I'm going to move that over a little bit. Right. So I hope this inspires you to have a go. I hope this inspires you to get some hand drawings in your portfolio. Not being afraid to fail, thinking about all those good things like big shapes. Right, I'm just going to map out. Oh, I know, I need to put this in. I'm going to put the pencil in because that's quite a good landmark. Now I can see that the camera is at a different angle, so might need you to just take my word for it about where things are. Right, so from my view, I've got a good landmark shape in here. I've got a triangle just there. That's not a triangle, is it? I can use it though. Okay. There we go, and there's my pencil. Sometimes it's quite hard to see, so sometimes I literally squint at the thing and line my pencil up on it and just look at the pencil then to see what is the actual angle. And another thing you can do is you can consider it like hands of a clock. Sometimes that helps. I'm not really a fan of objectification, except in this situation you do want to objectify your subject. It's very handy. Oh, Paul. Paul. I see what you did there. Right, got a crease in here. This hopefully will start to make sense at some point before the end of the stream. And so here's the tip of the pencil. Let's get that going on through there down to here. I think it's about here. So that's where the pencil hits the page. And now I've got this thumb coming round here. Let's think about bulk. So I've got a bulky area here and wrist there. Right, I'm going to just do something a little bit clickbaity and get my shadows in so that you can see what I'm actually... Hey guys on Twitch, I'd just like to say thanks so much if you're watching. I really appreciate it because this is the most viewers I've ever had on Twitch. I've got 5 people watching. Amazing. Thank you. So good to have you. Okay. Right, so there's the cast shadow under the hand. And now I'm just going to locate some knuckles. So I've got like a knuckle there, a knuckle here on my thumb, and that goes, I'm just checking the angle, so it goes up to the knuckle here. I've got a knuckle here, I've got knuckle there, right, and I've got this shady area here, and then I've got some cast shadow going on here, blending there but harder here. So I think that's the edge of, is that the edge of, no, there's the edge of my, is it radius or ulna? I think it's my ulna. Okay, right, so let's get that pencil in. So this pencil is foreshortened quite a lot actually because it's quite close to me. So it does definitely get narrower as it goes near. And then I've got these, there's a big crease there. That's the edge of the thumb. So I've got some good negative shapes going on here, which are great for landmarks. There's one there, one. So there's the edge of that finger. I'll do that in a more palatable colour. Right, I think my knuckle needs to come up a little bit. There we go. And when I've just got this map out now, I'm going to go and do some highlights in white to really show the light areas. Okay. Hoping that makes some sense. So we've got a shady finger under here. There's the pencil itself. bit more cast shadow. Oops. Let's do this edge here. There's a bit of dirty fingernail there. Here's the edge of the pencil. Move that slightly. Okay. Hopefully that will make it pop forward like that. Okay. And I can do this boundary here as well. Right. So in my occlusion shadows, so these really shadows where almost no light is going, I've got quite an opportunity to go really dark in there, and that will help bring the hand forward. I know that's a bit of a strange shape on that knuckle, but hopefully I can make some sense of it with some creases. Okay, maybe not. Right, and I've got a lovely warm edge here, and it's very warm here. And then I've got cooler light here. Right, and I hope this works. So now I'm going to get my ink pen. No more hiding, that's right, Brian, no more hiding. Definitely. There, and I've got a nice bit of highlight catching here. I'm just going to hatch that. Just looking where the light actually catches. I don't know if this is going to work, but hey, there's a bit here as well on this thumb, along the edge of the thumb. Does that work? I don't know. And I've actually got quite a plane here, so I can use that to define the pencil. That's a gift there. So I'm looking at that edge. I've got a really sharp edge where the light on my hand meets the pencil. Brian, if you want, you know, heaven knows why you would, but if you want to watch this back, I save them on YouTube permanently. So I've got other things. I've done one on lino cut and one on chickens, and next week I'm going to be doing drawing, what's it called? Continuous line. Right, and I've got a little bit there. Does that work? Has that worked? I don't know. Might do a little bit of the that lovely band that Leon's sister gave me, that she made. It's catching the light, and again, and then right. It's a bit hard to do this with one hand. Get the lid on. And so I'm going to do a little bit more shading. So I've got, this is quite a nice cool brown. So I'm going to intensify that shadow here because it is quite a strong edge, and I want to emphasize the difference, sharpen up the lights and darks. And get that there. So this here is very dark, particularly it's got a cast shadow like that there. There's that's the finger hitting. Okay, and now this is very dark as well in here. Right, if anyone wants another shout out, I'm more than happy to do more shout outs. Just ask. I will be happy to oblige. Just because you've had one doesn't mean you can't have another one. If you want to get one for your mother-in-law, a cat, got quite a lot of texture on my hand from gardening. How young were you when you started doing art? Oh, I think I've always done art, Brian. Always done it. So I guess, you know, for as young as I could hold a pencil. What about you? Have you always, I'm guessing we share that love of it. And I'm sure you know there's no magic tricks. Right, and now I think, right, let's get those darkest darks as well. So I'm really going in for the contrast. I've got a lovely dark here, and a crease here. Okay. So yeah, sorry, that's not very helpful, but yeah, all my life. I'm tempted to ask how old you are, Brian, that you're asking that. But obviously you don't have to tell me. But yeah, I've always loved art. I did, I'm in England, so I did, when I was doing it, they just stopped. Now they do GCSEs, but they were doing O-levels when I did it. So I did O-level art and A-level art. Didn't do very well in them. And then I went into computing. So I basically my history is computing. I'm really was a computer programmer. And then had children, had Leon, and then we moved to Dubai for a bit, and that's when I kind of really decided to try and make a living out of my art. You started when you were 15. Ah, okay, so you came to it relatively late then, I guess. I wonder what got you onto art. Yeah. But you do it now, you do fine art, graphite, other things. Do you do oil, or do you do any things like any printmaking? I love a bit of printmaking. And have you had any training? Oh, you do oil. Okay. So have you found Arthur Gain on Twitch? He's really great. He's on Instagram as well. Oh, well, that would help. I think it's brilliant. You know, cross-fertilisation of artistic hobbies is really good. Yeah. So interior design would be brilliant for teaching you. I find it all helps. You know, like even say lino cutting, I find help. Oh, you do know Arthur Gain, yeah. Yeah, lino cutting is really good for distilling shapes, teaching you to distill your shapes. Not liking the look of this thumb here. I'm just toning it down a little bit with a pencil because that hatching is really severe. But yeah, I was following Arthur Gain in my other before I started this channel. I was Soggy Rabbit, so I've got another account, Soggy Rabbit, where I do soft toy portraits, and so I was following Arthur Gain as that, but I've kind of suspended my Twitch Soggy Rabbit account because I thought it was better to do it as myself. Like you know, the fine art thing, I wanted to kind of identify as that. So if I ever comment on Arthur Gain's chat, I'm going to have to start again because he would know me as Soggy Rabbit, if he remembers me at all. But I think he's great. I love the way he streams. I love the way he demonstrates. I think he's really good. Okay, so there's, oh, I might just put a little bit of shadow in these bracelets. Oh, botanical. Ah, yeah, I like botanical art. Do you? Is that your... Do you love plants and stuff? I really like plants. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this one now. It's kind of done it to death. Now, on just to say that I don't know if you know about colour temperature. I'm really kind of getting into colour temperature, and the notion that you have cools and lights. Ah, okay, yeah. I had a very lovely chatter on Twitch recently who said they have a lexicon of plants that they take when they go hiking. They pick things and then sketch into the lexicon. Ah, well, you do, right? You and me both. So I like the way in traditional art they quite often have light is cool, warm, cool, warm. So cool highlights, and then warming, and then cool on the join between, like on the what we call the bedbug line. So I could have put something quite cool. I wonder if it would work. I'm going to reach and get my green pen and see what happens. So you can put... I'm going to try it. Sometimes it works. You can put a cool line on the bedbug line. It can go quite cool. Yeah, cool half tones, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if that works or not, but it's fun to try, isn't it? It's actually a bit cooler in there and cooler in there. There we go. Right, time to stop with that one. Okay, right, I've got half an hour. Don't know what to do. Right, let's put that away. So we've got... maybe I should do another graphite. Hello Andy Lamb, thanks for joining. Lovely to see you. I'm just doing some drawing hands. So I've got a skeleton on hand. Da, da, da. This is Steve. Steve's my mate. He's donated his arm for today, and so I've looked at graphite and coloured pencil, and I did a bit of ink. This is a skeleton and that. So yeah, I feel like I want to do one more picture. Maybe a fist. Maybe that would be a good... Yeah, I think I might do a fist. I'm going to do it on this again. Ah, you paint still life. Yeah, I really like still life. Who do you like who does still lives? What sort of inspiration do you get? Oh, maybe I could find a ball or something to hold. She says looking around. Oh, maybe I should hold Steve's hand. What about that? Would that be too gruesome? Is that just ridiculous? What do you think? I could certainly use the light with that. Let's see if I can put that on from here. I'll do it from this side. There we go. Right. I've got the skeleton hand and my hand. Yeah, so Brian, I'm interested to know who you follow who does still lives. I'd like to see your inspiration. I'm a big fan of Sarah Sedgwick. I really like her very simple oil still lives. I did one of her online courses. That was really good. Okay, so let's have a go at this then. A bit of silliness to finish off with. Yeah, thank you. It is a bit gothic. Okay, let's see if that's going to work. Maybe that. What do you think? That's better. Oh, you paint from life. Ah, yeah, Richard. I don't know Michael Klein, but yeah, Richard Schmidt is a real purist artist, isn't he? Yeah, or wasn't he? Yeah. Yeah, he's a legend. Okay, just trying to get my paper set up so that I can really see. I'm going to put a little bit of white paper underneath here and just get this set up. It's worth taking the time. So I suppose you could say this is a still life. There. That looks all right. That look good. There we are. Turn that like that. I'm just adjusting my camera, so I just want to get it nicely set so that I can settle down into this drawing. Right. Oh yes, please. What's your I've written down your name, your Twitch name, but please tell me or send them to me, DM them to me on Instagram. It'd be lovely to chat. I really appreciate you joining my stream. Right, and one more thing, I'm going to just crop this a little bit. I'm going to put something behind there so that I've got it more turned towards me. Okay. Right. Now that's pretty complicated. Okay, brilliant. J. Brian, Fine Art. I'm pretty sure I wrote it down. I'll just write it down again. J-I-R-E-H. If anyone is watching and you want to put your Instagram handle or anything else in the chat, please feel free. I think I've got it set that you can't put links on, but yeah, you'd be very welcome. Right, let's get on with this. So I'm going to start with a white pencil, just making sure, because I want nothing over these whites, these need to be really bright. So I can't do any mapping out under the white, otherwise they will look crap, not wanting to put too fine a line. Right, so this, I'm just drawing these, I'm just mapping them out where they're located relative to each other, roughly, and that finger's going like this. Okay, now let's look at these arcs. So we've got an arc here. So that would be knuckles. IRL, if Steve was real. There. Okay, and yes, Brian, I'd love to see your work. It'd be really interesting. We obviously follow a lot of the same people. Stan Prokopenko, and did you watch his podcast? Not podcast. It's called Draftsman. I quite like watching that. But when Stan went on paternity leave, he left Marshall, and they bounce off so well together. Marshall did a great job, but I haven't checked back in for a while. Right, so I'm doing Skeleton Steve's hand first, as just making sure that I've got the landmarks. There, that's in shade. And now I'm just going to look at my own hand, so where things are. So I've got a finger here. Now this is, so your view of my hand will be slightly different. If you want to draw along, you're more than welcome. Maybe you've got your own skeleton that you could draw. So I'm just putting in some landmarks in white, because I need them to stay light. And if I do any sketching out, oh, who's got really great content? You mean Stan? and Marshall. Marshall's an amazing artist and such a nice guy. They're a really good double act. Stan's really quite mean to Marshall, I think. Right, now I'm going to go in not too heavy, but I'm just going to go in with a little bit darker, trying to start to get some shapes, trying to think shapes, not lines. There, I've got a little shape there and a shape here. So I'm really considering my fingers as columns at the moment. I haven't gone in with the joints. Oh, I've got a nice bit of light on this knuckle there, so I can get that in. That's a lovely landmark. Let's find out where it is. Oh, I got it there. Right, just got it in a slightly different place. There we go. So there's my knuckle, and here coming under. Right, let's go back to that darker one. So I've got some lovely negative shapes to keep an eye on here. That goes in there. Here's the edge of Steve. It is like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? I really think that's a useful analogy. Okay, now I've got this curve going on here across the palm of my hand. So I'm just going to adjust the camera slightly because I can see, there we go, so that it's visible on Instagram, because there we are. Right. Oh, Stan, yeah. I love looking back at his old stuff as well, like when he was really young and like starting out on his own in his bedroom. He's very generous with what he shares about his journey. You know, he's kind of warts and all, isn't he, I think, and a fantastic draftsman. Right, I've got a lovely negative shape here between these two bones. Formal art lessons, I did do A level, but I did it in night classes. Do you know what I really like? Occasionally going on workshops. So I did, Sarah Sedgwick did a half day or a 1 day. I like people have lots of courses on YouTube and stuff like that, and I quite like doing that. And so I did GCSE, but mostly I'm self-taught. But like you, Stan Prokopenko, studying, practicing. There's no substitute for practice, is there? Yeah, I would have loved to have gone to art school. Would really have loved to, but I did maths instead at university, which served me well. Really gave me a career in IT, so I could just practice my art without worrying about having to earn money from it. Okay, right, now let's look at this. I'm trying to look at this big shape here and get the angles right of this, where it comes down for my thumb. I think I've got a crease here, and from that down to there is like that. I find this joint really hard, this thumb joint. Oh, you're a graduate of YouTube. Yeah. I did a very good workshop in Belfast a few years ago, just to learn the basics of oil with he's known as Maestro Michael John Angel, and so he teaches at one of the 3 academies in Florence. And he taught, I bet you know Cesar Santos. So I believe that Cesar Santos went to the Florence Academy, and so he does in Belfast. Michael John Angel, known as Maestro, does workshops in the summer. So I went to one of those to learn oil. That was very good. I find, yes! That's so funny. Yeah, so Cesar Santos, what a legend. What a lovely guy as well. Yeah, friends, very dear friends, gave me a Cesar Santos demonstration video, which I learnt a lot from. One of the things I really took away from that was the extent to which he, you know, even he doesn't get it right first time. Yes, he is. Yeah, Cesar Santos went to Michael John Angel's. Yeah, so Michael John Angel teaches. He's British, and he teaches. He goes to Ireland to a drawing school there, to Belfast every summer, and he's a very, very entertaining teacher. Quite, I would say, I don't think he would mind me describing him as renegade. You know, quite. He's a free spirit. But I think Cesar Santos is a little bit of this. So if you look on YouTube, there is an interview that Michael John Angel. I'm not sure who was interviewing who, but Michael John Angel and Cesar Santos did together. It's very interesting, sort of talking about the student. You know, he's obviously their prize exhibit. Right, now I need to get some big shadows in, I think. Get some of this shape, and then hopefully it'll start popping. But yes, Cesar Santos's demo, he just does a beautiful sensitive portrait in traditional methods in oils of his wife. And it was the fact, you know, looking at the proportions and stuff, I thought, well, they're wrong. A lot of them, you know, he got something down, and whereas I might, you know, kind of panic and or stop, he just kind of kept going. He just kept going, you know, he got things close, and then he went, sorry, I just got a bit distracted concentrating on, yeah, he just kept going, refining and refining, and yeah, and eventually he got there with the shape, and it was just a real comfort to know that he also finds things hard, and he doesn't get things right first time, but you know, like around 15, 20-year-olds. What do you mean, on Instagram? You mean, or in real life? I follow. There's a really good person I like following her. Scarlett's Art. She's on Instagram. I knew her in real life, and she's gone to art school, and she does post quite a lot of her art stuff. So I would recommend her. Scarlett, as in the colour, Scarlett's Art. I met her at Life Drawing, yeah. Trying to think who else. What about you? Anyone you recommend? Do you have friends on Instagram? People you like to follow? I'm always up for some recommendations. Most of my friends are a bit older, Brian. I think you might be quite a lot younger than me. And yeah, let's get that little up there. Right, so I'm going to do some shadows on this, on Steve as well, to start to show his joints there. Kyle Marr. Oh, I don't know. I'll have a look at Kyle Marr. I'm writing that down. Thank you. Right, Steve, let's get your... Actually, I'm going to use the green because these are really cool, these shadows on Steve. So that'll help delineate. Paul, you're very quiet today. You still there? Busy, probably. Ah, okay. Do you like following young artists? It's inspirational to. They often have a lot of. They do a lot on Procreate, don't they? I think it's quite unusual to find young artists working in traditional skills. I'm sure I do follow a lot of young ones. What sort of work does Kyle Marr do? Right. To see what people around. Ah, yes, it is. Yeah, it's interesting. People who haven't. Sometimes experience is a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Sometimes experience can deaden your work, and I do wonder about that with training as well. You know, sometimes if self-taught artists. I'm not sure if. Do you like Lucian Freud? I don't mean as a person. I mean, you know, his work. As a person, he's a totally different kettle of fish. But I do like Lucian Freud's work very much, and I'm not sure how he trained, but I think he taught. He definitely taught in art school because he used to get source his models from there, didn't he? They were often his students. Get that joint. Yeah, there's a real greenish hue to this skeleton. I'm going to go in Cheap Thrills, get some dark definition. Would you like to do? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're right about Freud. Yeah. There was a fantastic retrospective of his self-portraits in a gallery in London recently that I really enjoyed. Yeah, he's absolutely incredible. You know your stuff, Brian. I'm honoured to have your attention about Freud's values and did you see the other thing I think is really interesting about Freud is, do you know how he does? He often starts with the eye, and he does his portraits really, oh dear, now I need a colour that's in here. Right, so Freud does his, oh hi Lou, lovely to see you if you're still watching. Thanks for joining. Lewis, I've got someone called Brian here on Twitch who's watching, and he's just asking me about young artists. My friend Lewis, I need to get him to post more. There we are, a little bit more flesh colours in here to set the hand apart. So Lou, I've just done a couple of hours, so I've just got another sort of 10 minutes, if that. Just finishing this off. I'm going to do a So I was just talking with Brian about, we were talking about colour value and how often on the border between warm shadows and cool lights, you get a cool, sorry, warm shadows and the lights, you get a cool, what's called a half tone. So I'm going to go with that and put those cool half tones in. And I might have to put some shadows in, I think, where Steve's hand meets mine to try and make it extra creepy. Right, so particularly this one here, I've got a real, he looks like he's got his claws into me there, and I've got quite a dent on my hand there. I'll post these pictures afterwards, so if you want, in the unlikely event you actually want to see any more. Yeah, so Brian, talking about Freud, so he doesn't build the whole shape, he just, he builds out from one area. So he does, like he'll do the eyes, and they've seen this from some of his unfinished work. He would do the eyes, and then he would do the next bit, and then just kind of join it all together. Really interesting process, and very distinctive and very slow as well. He was a very slow worker. Have you seen his portrait of the Queen? I wonder what you think of that. That's yeah, controversial, I think is probably the... Right, I'm not going to do my bracelets there. I think they're a bit of noise. But I am going to make note of... So I'm going to try and just make a sense of the bones in here. Just a nod to the underlying. So I've got that plane there, where the bone goes on. Highlight there on the, some highlights on the top of the, okay, right, now let's see which finger is it. Okay, so this is all light here, that looks better. Yes, it does. And I do think, yeah, Freud has a lot, I really, and I find a lot of it quite bleak. I don't know if you agree. I find some of his work, maybe, you know, it's the nature of the relationships he had with the models, and sometimes he used his children, didn't he? And you know, it has been said that that was the only way they could really get, you know, time with him, was to agree to model. And I think that sometimes that's reflected in some of the work. It really, yeah. Funny old stick, wasn't he? Oh, Brian, I'm really looking forward to finding you on Instagram in a minute when I come off. And I hope you'll come back. I only stream another awesome young Fina Mooney. Oh, okay, thank you. Lewis, if you're interested, this is on YouTube as well. You can see a bit more, but I will show the work that I've done at the end. I'll do a little summing up. Let's put a bit of cast shadow in here now. Right, so I've got a bit of a, all gone slightly wrong here. That's my, okay, I've got a, I think I said cast shadow here, and I'm go really dark in the occlusion shadow. try and just, I don't want to over explain, but I do want to slightly explain what's going on with a few judiciously placed marks. Hey Brian, no, please don't apologise. It's lovely to have the chat. It's the point of coming on here for the conversation. And thank you for all your recommendations. I'm looking forward to looking up the people that you've recommended. And I hope this has inspired you to do some hand drawing and not just hide them. Not to be afraid of them. Now those knuckles are really hot. Some really bright orange in there. And some lovely light cool here. Let's get that. Make Steve pop. And I've got more. How am I doing for time? Oh, I've run out of time. Okay. Let's just do a little bit more definition between Steve's joints. There. I don't know if that works. Maybe a little bit. Get those. Ah, yeah, that will help. Get a bit of cast shadow. I forgot to do the cast shadow of Steve on me, and that really helps with the realism, doesn't it? Okay. Right, time to stop. Don't really want to stop now. I'm having such a nice time. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. I will show you. So I'll just do a little run through all the content. So let me see if I can. I'm going to hold them up a little bit closer. There we go. So that's the last one. This is there we are. Okay. Oh yes, yeah. Draw. I know it's difficult with lockdown. It's difficult to get any live drawing in. Okay, so there's my hand with Steve on it. Then so we started with a bit of a graphite drawing there of a hand. I think you can see that. And then a little bit in colour on cream paper, and then lastly this. Oh, I think I did another one on this pad. Let's have a look. Oh, here we are. Yes, forgot that one. There we go. Do you know what? I really want to just do a little bit of those highlights. I'll do it afterwards. But I'm just going to come on the camera to say a really big thank you. And yeah, so thanks to everybody who's joined. Thank you for people who've chipped in, and thanks Debs for letting me know that it was all right on Facebook, and I've really enjoyed. So there's your shout outs. Brian, superstar, thanks so much for joining. Leon as well, if you're still watching. So I hope you'll come back again. Oh, Paul, brilliant. You'll need to try. Yeah. Yes, Paul, you're totally right. You do need to get some more in. Let's see those figures on your feed. But you're being really good, and it all works. It all helps. You know, figures help with your figures help you with your still life. Still life helps with you know, it all works. So next week I'm going to be doing continuous line drawing. So that's really different. So I'm going to try and maybe get some video footage and some references and just look at drawing things with continuous line. And then the week after, oh, you're really welcome, Brian. So it's continuous line, and then I'm doing cubism, and then reflections, and then feet. So please find me. I'm most active probably on Instagram, but I'm everywhere. So it's been great having you. I really appreciate you, and I don't want to say goodbye, but I need to say goodbye now. So thanks a lot, guys. It was really lovely.